This is Cwm Ivy Marsh. We're on the sea wall at the moment, and as you can see, the sea is coming through the wall. The sea wall at Cwm Ivy is a medieval sea wall. It's around about the 1700s. It was built to make sure that Cwm Ivy became a better farming land, and as technology improved, the wall got bigger and bigger and it enclosed more land. Over the years that became a very good freshwater marsh, became a triple SI, but in the last 20 or 30 years it's actually declined quite considerably, to the point where it was actually failing in its status. Obviously now the seawall has breached and there's water going through, and so it's actually not triple SI at all anymore. It's not a freshwater marsh at all. It's actually reverting quite quickly back to salt marsh, which for us is a fantastic situation. Salt marsh is a nationally and globally scarce habitat, so to create a little bit here on Gower, or a little bit more, is fantastic. There is a secondary problem, or a problem I suppose, in that the seawall is an important resource for the local community, to a circular walk, and most importantly to walk to the pub, and they can't get across, and this is a problem. And so a massive part of our project, the work we're doing here, is to make sure this footpath is reinstated and there's a bridge go across. It's complicated, it's an engineering problem, and I look at flowers and butterflies generally, so I know nothing about engineering. One of our main goals for here is to improve the access, and this, is obviously an important part of that. Just up on the seawall, there's a load of local ecologists and bird watchers, and they're actually looking out for osprey. They're hanging around in the estuary at the moment, and we're hoping that they come and have a look at the water that's come into the marsh, and maybe consider it for a future nesting opportunity. I don't think they're going to come next year, but if they come and every time they pass through, come and have a look, then in a few years, fingers crossed, this might be a new osprey site for Wales, which would be the most exciting thing I can imagine. So we're pretty much at the highest point now with the sea coming in, and it still hasn't covered the whole site. In fact, it's probably covered about half, which means that although we've lost freshwater habitat in this initial half, the back half will still retain all of its freshwater habitats. There is a gradual sort of migration of habitats inland. The way habitats naturally form, this is what should happen. Salt marsh should come in and everything else should move back, and that's what's happening. So it's quite a nice thing to see it happen. It's just a little bit more dramatic here because the sea's come in very quickly with the breach, obviously. Next year, 2015, is Neptune's 50th anniversary. Whitford Burrows, behind me, was the very first Neptune acquisition. So there's quite a lot of celebration here as being the place where it all started. And obviously this, coastal realignment, the first coastal realignment in Wales, is extremely exciting and very good timing for us, because it means that we can, this is where the National Trust wants to take Neptune for the next 50 years. It's all about future-proofing the coast and coastal realignment, and so to have this here right next to the first acquisition, some things just fall in your lap. It's just very good fortune, but it's very exciting, and obviously we want to make a big deal of that. And so there's going to be bird hides going up around here. We've got funding for sort of 3 or 4 bird hides and interpretation boards, and osprey nesting platforms and all that sort of thing. And so next year this is going to be a really exciting place to be. It's going to be a lot happening, and it's a real focal point for the National Trust for the Coast 2015 work.